Opened the door, and after a while, I found out that's a 25 amp circuit breaker. If you do run into that problem and you don't want it to burn everything up, especially the door lock modules, you got to put a 10 amp circuit breaker in there. If it locks up, it'll blow pretty quick and really protect everything. So if you think you're going to have that problem, you ought to be running a 10 amp on that anyway, rather than the 25. Let's see. Probably the next place, now all of this right in here is headlights, emergency flashers, and radio, dash lights. This runs off to the air conditioning, and get this out of the way. These are door lights, but this is the air conditioning, heater fan, air conditioning fan inside the car. Usually not too much trouble with those. Sometimes the ground on the motor on the inside of the car is screwed to the motor. Sometimes that'll come loose. But generally the problems aren't nearly as common as some of the others up here. Speaker wires. Now the headlight switch. The headlight switch can be a bit of a problem. How many are running the new headlight switch from DMCH? Anybody got those?
I've got it. I've been putting it on.
The one problem with the headlight switch was that the power wire that goes to the headlight switch is not fused, unless you fuse it, which I would recommend. Or all of the power that goes through the headlight switch, it runs the relays that for the high and low beams is fed through there when you turn on your headlights. But the thing that really heats it up is the parking lights. The left and the right side run through there, and that's a lot of current going through there. It's like both sides running, it's like probably 10 to 12 amps of power feeding both sides, and that's a lot through the headlight switch. I burned up a headlight switch back in the early days, and I wound up, my fix then was to just put a relay on each side of for the running lights, but then I did that because it was nice to fit in the alarm system too. So I took all the load off that headlight switch. The headlight switch in my car is original, an original one. It's not the original one. But that's the reason you need a new. It's a good idea to try and do something with that headlight switch. Herbie sells a protection kit for your headlight switch that takes the power off of the headlight and runs it through a relay, so that you don't wind up with all that amperage going through the switch itself. And that's the problem with the switch, all the amperage going through it. So that can be a trouble spot. The next trouble spot is, let's see, where am I on the relay here? I'll find it in a second. This is the dash. Anyway, what I'm looking for is the help me out. What's the switch down by the lambda counter?
Inertia?
Inertia switch. That the fuel, if you flip it up, the door locks unlock and the fuel pump turns off. And so the fuel pump current goes through the inertia switch. Early recall item, the inertia switches were all bad. You were supposed to get one that had a white dot on it. Later, you got a quality inertia switch. I periodically like to lift mine up and make sure I hear it clicking back and forth inside. Make sure it's not stuck or the rod won't come up, something like that. Make sure it's not defective. But you can usually tell if you've had a bad one if I can find it on here, is that the fitting plug-in is melted.
For that one in the center over there, right in front of you?
No, those are the windows, and this is the defroster switch in the middle of it.
Okay.
Each one of those are the windows. Let's see, got it here someplace. This is a dash. Now this is all messed up here, but this is the way the fitting looks in the back of your dash. And if this goes onto a printed circuit board, so if you notice that your gauges are acting funky, fuel gauge won't go all the way up, the amp gauge or voltmeter stays down low, it's usually because these things have gotten corrosion on them and you need to take it out and clean them up. There's two gang plugs like this. This is a gang plug. This is one, and then there's a small one someplace. But all of this, let's see, where am I here? Lights.
How are all those wires hanging out?
Well, I guess I'm just going blind.
Like that?
This, now what's missing on here, this is the turn signal, wiper motor, delay, and all that sort of stuff. This, you see this one wire still hanging on? If this ground becomes loose, turn signals will act erratic, your windshield wiper motor won't run properly, it might be intermittent, you'd be driving down the road and all of a sudden the motor comes on and goes off. It's usually this ground right here. It's grounded through this plate to the rest of the mechanism, so that's problematic. Anyway, the inertia switch is an issue, so I know it's on here. I saw it last time I was looking at it, but this one right here, no, that's not the inertia switch. Well, while I'm trying to think about where that one is on here, this one right here is extremely important. And it's one of these is busted up, but you know where this one is? Where the other connection is for this one? This is inside the window washer bottle compartment, up high. This is where the headlight, the wiring harness for the headlights and everything is, and for the cooling fans. And if these get corroded or crud, your cooling motors will wind up drawing too much amperage. It'll get hot. These connections can give you all kinds of fits, because not only is the power side provided through here, but also a lot of the ground goes through this for the headlights and stuff. Now there's also some ground connections that mount up to the front radiator brackets. You've seen all those ground connections up there. Those are important to get clean. You need to take those bolts out periodically and be sure you put plenty of anti-corrosion around them to keep your grounds clean there. But this is one that a lot of people overlook, and it's hard to get to. It's a real pain to get that washer bottle out of there and check this connection. But it can give you some real problems. I was having a lot of high current problems with my cooling fans, and when I finally took this out, I found out why. Actually, mine wasn't even plugged in all the way, which was my problem. I think it probably got unplugged when they tried to stuff the washer bottle in there, and it just kind of ripped it out of the way. But so those are, from the main wiring harness point of view, that's probably it from stem to stern. But there's a lot of wire here, and a lot of your problems start right there at that compartment right there that's right above the battery. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The best thing you can have is, of course, is a good wiring diagram. There's several out on the mailing list and on different websites that you can print out to just keep in your glove compartment. And it's got a legend so you can reference everything. It's kind of handy to have around. Of course, some people have gone to the trouble to really make it nice. It's got a nice color coding so you know what color the wires are and where it goes, nicely labeled.